There is a moment that comes in every twin flame journey, quiet, almost imperceptible, where something in the atmosphere changes. The air feels different, the dreams become more vivid, the signs appear more frequently, and deep within the chest of the divine masculine, something ancient and knowing begins to stir. That moment is now. Union is approaching, and the truths that come with it, the ones he has been circling for months, maybe years, can no longer be buried, outrun, or rationalized away. The universe has been patient, extraordinarily patient, but there is a point in every twin flame journey where patience transforms into urgency, where the gentle nudge becomes an undeniable pull, and where the divine masculine must finally stop, turn around, and face everything he has been avoiding. If you are watching this video, something in you already knows this. Something deeper than thought, deeper than logic, guided you here today. Because what you are about to hear is not just spiritual theory. It is a reckoning. It is a mirror. And for many of you, it will illuminate something you have felt but never quite had the words for. Before we go any further, if this kind of deep, honest, transformative twin flame content speaks to your soul, I want to ask you right now, please subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. Every single week, we go to the places most channels are afraid to go. The raw truths, the uncomfortable realizations, the spiritual insights that actually move the needle on your journey. You deserve a space that respects your intelligence and tells you the truth. So subscribe now and let's begin. In the vast and layered world of twin flame connections, there is a relationship unlike any other, the sacred dance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. These are not simply personality types or gender roles. They are energies, cosmic forces, two expressions of the same soul sent into the world separately, shaped by different experiences, carrying different wounds, yet always oriented toward one another like compass needles to true north. For much of the journey, this orientation has felt like confusion, like longing without resolution, like reaching for something that keeps moving just out of reach. The separations, the silences, the push and pull of a connection too vast to be fully understood by the ordinary mind, all of it has been part of the preparation, because union was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be earned, not through suffering for its own sake, but through the kind of deep, deliberate, sometimes agonizing inner transformation that makes two people genuinely ready to hold something sacred without breaking it. And now, for the divine masculine, that transformation has been happening, whether he has been conscious of it or not. Shifts have been occurring beneath the surface. Old patterns have been losing their grip. Something in him has been quietly, persistently, refusing to let him stay the same. Union is approaching, and here are the truths he can no longer avoid. The first truth is that he has been running from himself, not from her. This is the truth that changes everything once it lands. For so long, the narrative around twin flames has centered on the chase. The divine feminine awakens first, recognizes the connection, reaches toward it. The divine masculine feels the pull, is overwhelmed by its intensity, and creates distance. He goes quiet. He pulls back. He finds reasons, logical, rational-sounding reasons, for why the timing is wrong, why the connection is too complicated, why it is better to step away. But here's what almost never gets said out loud. He was never running from her. He was running from himself. She is a mirror, She has always been a mirror, and what she reflects back is not just love, it is truth, his truth, the unhealed places, the wounds he has carried so long they started to feel like personality traits, the fears he never examined because examining them would require admitting they existed, the version of himself he has not yet become, but knows, deep down, he is meant to be. That reflection was too much, so he ran. Not because the love was not real, but because the love was so real, so complete, so utterly without pretense, that standing in it meant standing fully in himself, and he was not yet ready to do that. As union approaches, this truth surfaces with a gentleness that surprises him. It does not arrive as accusation, it arrives as understanding. He begins to see, with a clarity that feels almost unfamiliar, that every moment of distance he created was a moment of self-avoidance, and in seeing that clearly, he finally stops running. Not because the fear is gone, but because he has grown larger than the fear. The second truth is that his silence was never indifference. It was fear wearing the mask of calm. One of the most painful experiences in the twin flame journey for the divine feminine is the silence of the divine masculine, the unanswered messages, the unexplained coldness, the way he could be so deeply present and connected in one moment and then completely unreachable the next. From the outside, this silence can look like apathy. It can feel like rejection. It can make the divine feminine question everything, the connection, her perception, her own worth. But the truth the divine masculine must now fully reckon with is that his silence was almost never indifference. It was fear so enormous, so all-consuming, so unfamiliar in its depth that words literally could not survive inside of it. The connection between twin flames does not feel like ordinary love. It feels like being completely seen, completely known. And for someone who has spent a lifetime carefully managing how much of himself he allows to be seen, that level of exposure is terrifying in a way that has no adequate language. So he went quiet, not because he did not care, but because caring that much, wanting something that much, needing something that much, these things felt dangerous to a man who had always prided himself on needing nothing. As union approaches, this truth does not come with shame attached. It comes with the recognition that the very depth of feeling he was afraid of is precisely the gift. The intensity was never the problem. The intensity was the proof. And the silence that once felt like the only way to survive the connection becomes the very thing he is now ready to break through. The third truth is that union is not a destination he arrives at. It is a person he must become. This is perhaps the most humbling truth of all, and it is one the divine masculine resists the longest. Because in the human framework of desire, we believe that if we want something badly enough and wait long enough, it will eventually arrive. We treat union like a reward waiting at the end of a long road. We think that if we simply endure the separation long enough, the reunion will come and everything will fall into place. But that is not how twin flame union works. Union does not happen to the divine masculine. It is built by him, from the inside out. The universe does not bring two people into union prematurely. It cannot. Because union without inner readiness does not become sacred partnership. It collapses into the same patterns that caused the separation in the first place. The same wounds, the same triggers, the same cycles, just with higher emotional stakes and deeper damage. the separation was not a punishment. It was a classroom. Every moment of longing, every bout of emotional turbulence, every uncomfortable truth that surfaced during the quiet periods of the journey, all of it was instruction. All of it was building something in the divine masculine that could not be rushed. Emotional maturity that allows him to stay present when every old instinct says to flee. Spiritual awareness that allows him to recognize the sacred in the difficult. Inner stability that allows him to love fully without losing himself. These things cannot be downloaded. They must be developed. And as union approaches, the divine masculine begins to feel them taking root. A new steadiness, a new groundedness, an almost inexplicable sense of readiness that feels nothing like certainty and everything like peace. He is not the same man he was at the beginning of this journey, and that, more than any external sign or synchronicity, is the clearest signal that union is near. The fourth truth is that love was never the risk. Closing his heart was. The world teaches men in 1,000 different ways that vulnerability is weakness, that opening the heart completely, trusting without guarantee, loving without reservation, these are forms of recklessness, dangerous, naive. The divine masculine absorbed these lessons early and absorbed them deeply, and so he built walls, sophisticated, well-defended, often invisible walls, not out of cruelty, but out of survival, not because he did not want love, but because wanting love and not receiving it, or receiving it and losing it, felt like a wound he could not afford to carry. But here's the truth that union will not allow him to keep avoiding. Closing his heart was never the safe option. It was the costliest one. Every wall built around the heart is a wall built against life itself, against growth, against the very purpose he came here to fulfill. He did not come here to survive love. He came here to embody it. The divine feminine did not arrive in his life to be managed at a careful distance. She arrived to call him back to himself, to show him that his heart, fully open, is not his most vulnerable place. It is his most powerful one. That the love between twin flames is not a risk to be carefully calculated. It is a truth to be lived, embodied, expressed without apology. As union approaches, the divine masculine begins to feel the walls soften, not because he has become careless with his heart, but because he has become wise enough to understand that guarding it was never protecting him. It was costing him everything. The fifth truth is that she never needed to be fixed, saved, or fully understood. She needed to be met. There is a particular pattern that emerges in the divine masculine during the twin flame journey. A tendency to intellectualize the connection, to analyze it, to try to understand it well enough that it feels manageable. And sometimes, woven into this need to understand, is a subtle but significant distortion, the sense that his role is to fix something, to save her from her journey, or to only fully engage once he has figured everything out. This is the ego dressed in spiritual clothing, and it must be released. The divine feminine is not a problem to be solved. She is not waiting to be rescued. She has been on her own profound journey of growth and self-discovery, a journey that required her own courage, her own confrontation with truth, her own becoming. She does not need the divine masculine to arrive with all the answers. She needs him to arrive with all of himself. Meeting her means showing up without the performance, without the carefully constructed version of himself that he thinks she wants, without the conditions and the calculations and the protective distance. It means being willing to be seen in his fullness, his strength and his uncertainty, his clarity and his confusion, his love and his fear. As union nears, the divine masculine begins to understand this with a depth that surprises him. The need to figure it all out before he can be fully present begins to dissolve, and in its place arrives something simpler and infinitely more powerful: the willingness to simply be here, fully here, without reservation. The sixth truth is that every version of her he pushed away was a version of himself he was not ready to love. Twin flames are mirrors. This is one of the most repeated truths in the twin flame community, and yet its full depth is rarely explored. Because a mirror does not only show you what is beautiful, it shows you everything. And in the divine feminine, the divine masculine does not just see his greatest capacity for love, he sees every place he has not yet learned to love himself. Her emotional depth mirrors his emotional avoidance. Her willingness to be vulnerable mirrors his fear of exposure. Her relentless faith in the connection mirrors the part of him that still does not believe he is worthy of something this sacred. Every push-pull moment in their journey was not a failure of the relationship. It was the relationship doing exactly what it was designed to do, pressing on the unhealed places until they could no longer be ignored. As union approaches, the divine masculine begins to see this dynamic not with guilt but with gratitude. Every moment he struggled to receive her love was a moment pointing him toward the love he owed himself. Every moment he questioned the connection was a moment of invitation to go deeper into his own truth, to do the inner work that would allow him to stand in this love without flinching. He was not rejecting her. He was being redirected to himself. And now, having made that inward journey, he is ready to return. The seventh truth is that union has always been inevitable. The only variable was his readiness. This truth is both the most comforting and the most clarifying of all. From the moment these two souls agreed to find each other in this lifetime, union was written. It was never a matter of if. It was always a matter of when, and the when has always been determined by one thing: whether the divine masculine had done enough of the inner work to sustain it. The separations were not the universe withholding something from him. They were the universe investing in him, building in him the capacity to hold what he is about to receive. Every difficult season, every moment of longing, every dark night of the soul, all of it was preparation, all of it was love, expressed in the most demanding and ultimately the most generous form imaginable. And now, standing at the threshold, the divine masculine can feel what he perhaps could not feel before, that he is ready, not perfect, not fully healed in every corner of his being, but ready to step forward into the love that was always his, to meet his divine feminine, not as someone he has been chasing or running from, but as the other half of himself, recognized, honored, and received at last. Union is approaching. The signs are in the stillness that has replaced the old restlessness. They are in the unexpected tears that come without clear cause. They are in the dreams that feel like memories and the memories that feel like prophecy. They are in the way the divine masculine finds himself thinking of her in quiet moments, not with longing, not with confusion, but with a quiet, certain, unshakable knowing. He can no longer avoid these truths. And the most beautiful part of where this journey has brought him is this: he no longer wants to. The running is over. The walls are coming down. The man who was too afraid to be fully seen is stepping into the light, not because someone forced him there, but because he has finally realized that the light was never something to be afraid of. It was always home. If this message reached something deep in you today, please share it with someone who is walking this journey. Your support means everything, and it helps this content reach the people who need it most. And if you are not subscribed yet, do it right now. Every week we go deeper, get more honest, and bring you the kind of twin flame truth that actually helps you move forward. We are here for the real ones, the ones doing the work, the ones who know that this journey is about so much more than romance. It is about becoming. It is about truth. It is about coming home to yourself, to your twin flame, and to the highest expression of love you were always destined to live.